Hey everybody, Rosematter here. Welcome to part 6 of my Higurashi When They Cry Matsuribayashi Let's Play. In the last episode, we learned some more about some of the quote-unquote deaths, mysterious deaths caused by Oyashiro-sama, which of course we know were done by humans. In Sadako's parents' case, sadly, it's as, it was alluding to where it was Sadako herself. In a moment of paranoia, she pushed her parents over the ledge and killed them. As for Rika's parents, it was Takano. For sure, we know Takano had some involvement in it because the parents refused to let them, continue to experiment on Rika. Whether Erie had some say or some participation in that, it's kind of up in the air. I don't want to believe he did, but I don't know. So anyway, we're going to get back into it. We're going to find out some more. My big thing is I really hope we're going to learn more about Satoshi, the death of the aunt, if it was for sure. If it was Satoshi, who knows? Maybe Sadako killed the aunt too. Who freaking knows? So anyway, we're going to get back into it and find out what other mysteries there are to be unveiled. So let's go. All right. Okay, the third year's curse of Oyashiro-sama is required. Okay, I think that has happened, right? So it's been first it was construction manager, and then it was Sadako's parents, and then Rika's parents. So I think we can finally do this red capsule. Yes? Yes. Okay, here we go. The strange medicine that I can hardly remember was a capsule. Or maybe it was an oval tablet. It was so red, it must have been a capsule. I can't imagine a tablet in that color. It must have been a capsule. I think it was a little bigger than a normal one. I think. I think. I can't remember. Although I can hardly remember, if I see that medicine again, it'll refresh my memory. That medicine strips away humanity. It takes away human soul, memory, emotion, and it numbs the human body. There are no thoughts, no interests, no will to stay awake or asleep. There's no sense of time. Sometimes a second can feel like an eternity, and other times I can almost see the hour hand move. Either way, there's no emotion involved. I can't feel any emotion. The medicine only lets me stay in bed and look up at the ceiling. Only the people who have taken it can understand this misery. What's more scary is that while I'm on the medication, I don't realize how scary it is. I'm given the medication daily and I keep losing all my senses. So when the medicine wore off by accident, I realized I should never take it again. That's right. This isn't medicine that will heal me. It's just going to kill me slowly. If I continued to take this medicine, I probably wouldn't be able to tell if I was dead or alive, and I would end up losing myself forever. I'll keep looking up at the ceiling without any emotion and keep watching the clock tick forever. If I take the medicine again, I'll lose all the senses I finally regained. I may never be able to bring myself back again. Since the day I realized that, I've been pretending to take the medicine, but throwing it away instead. If your doctor prescribes medication, you have to finish taking it, even if your symptoms are gone. I can hear my mother's voice. Any time I went to the doctor's office when I was a child, my mother said that to me. I usually got well before I finished all the medication, so I didn't finish taking the rest. That's why my mother said that. It's very important to do that, especially if it's for an infection. You gotta take the full amount. Please, if take anything from this, do that. Take your full medication if you need to. But this is a different type of medicine. I don't even remember how old I was when my mother said that. But with this strange capsule in front of me, I have to try and get rid of my mother's voice from inside my head. Oh, is this Rena? Because I think one of the fragments something to do with Rena. It required a red capsule, and it would make sense, right? I think if Rena had that freak out when she was at school and they medicated her, I pressed down on my head with my elbows until it hurt, trying to get rid of what my mother kept telling me. Especially because she hates her mother, right? She doesn't want anything to do with her mother. Right. As my head clears, I start to remember the ugly side of my mother. Yep, this is Rena. My mother betrayed her family. She betrayed me and my father, who waited for her at home with dinner on the table. Like Ren, I completely forgot about her. We've been getting into Rika and Sadako and even Erie. But yeah, Rena, we haven't really been learning much about. She told us she was busy with work, but she was having an affair. That was bad enough, but she asked my father for a divorce after he took such good care of her for so many years. But there's something else I can't forgive her for. She invited only me to meet with her new family. Not my father, just me. My father and I are family. Family means being together. Yet my mother tried to destroy the bond between my father and me. Not only had she destroyed her bond with him, she tried to destroy my bond with him too. When I remember, it makes me feel angry and hateful, and I can't forgive her. The back of my eyes start to hurt, and I can feel the hatred on my face. That overflowing animosity is aimed not only at my mother, but also the man she had an affair with. The man she had an affair with. Uncle Akihito. I didn't like him teasing me, but he gave me an allowance and tried to have fun with me. I liked him very much, but his niceness was all calculated. He wanted to destroy the family bonds between my mother, my father, and me. That's why I shouldn't have said I liked him very much. That's right. I'm starting to remember and understand. I now know my true enemy. It was his fault my mother started to have an affair. Maybe Rena killed him and we don't even know until like now. Because my mother was a very good mother. He was the one who made her a bad one. So he's the one who deserves the blame. When was the first time I met him? I think it was the time when my mother and I went out and had lunch at a restaurant. She introduced him as one of her colleagues from work. At that time, if I think about that very first meeting, I think I felt something wasn't right with the way my mother acted around him. That's right, I did. I did think something was wrong. It didn't feel right. I wish I had trusted my instincts then, because we know one thing, we know Rena's instincts are usually spot on. I was a fool to think he was a nice person just because he gave me a strawberry from his piece of cake. It was not my father's fault, because I bet he never met Uncle Akihito. But I have. I've met him many times, and there were a lot of chances to realize he was my enemy, and we know how Rena deals with her enemies. If I had a strong enough will to protect my happiness, I could have noticed that. You're lucky, Akihito, because you could have been the one at the end of the bat instead of Rena and Tepe. I can't forget how my father looked on that day. My father, who was so nice and gentle, grabbed his knee so tightly and cried so hard. He asked me if I knew Uncle Akihito. I answered yes. Then he slapped me in the face. What is with these parents and slapping their children in this game? I feel like every parent at some point has slapped their kid except for maybe Keiichi's parents, and even then I wouldn't be surprised if they did at some point, especially when he was being bad and shooting kids with guns. When he slapped me, I finally realized how stupid I was for being taken in by him. That's right, it was my fault. I destroyed the happiness I had hoped to last forever with my own hands. If I hadn't been that stupid, my father wouldn't have had to cry like that, and my mother would have stayed good. If I wasn't that stupid, it was my fault. I can't forgive my mother and Uncle Akihito. Even when I hate him this much, I still call him uncle, and I can't forgive myself for that. It was my fault. Everything was my fault. I was too stupid and foolish, and that's why this happened. I hate her. I'm sad. I'm frustrated. I can't stop being angry. If my mother ever came back to this house, I would rip her apart with my hands. Damn, Rena. But she never came back. My anger turned towards everything that my mother left in the house. I destroyed every relic my mother left behind, one after another. I threw and smashed everything. But that still didn't calm me down. Even after I turned the whole house upside down, I still couldn't calm my anger. Where does my anger gather? It starts from inside of me, goes through my arms to my fingertips, and spurts from my nails. Where else can it go? So my nails aim at my own body. My body is the filthiest and most disgusting thing of all. I am the one to be blamed. No, no, no. I'm not to blame. My mother's most at fault. My mother's the most corrupt. My body and soul feel filthy. I wanted to stain myself black and slice the remaining flesh into pieces. And one day I finally realized. There are tons of maggots in my blood. I am rotten. I am rotten from the inside. Come on, rot more. But it is indescribably itchy. It is itchy, 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 itchy. I stabbed my thigh with a razor blade in the bathroom. Ugh. The reddish-black maggots spilled out. I forced myself to open my blood vessels with my thumbs. Ugh. The maggots spilled out. Squirm, 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 squirm. Squirm, squirm, squirm. So many maggots spilled out from my left thigh. My right thigh must have the same amount of maggots in its blood vessels. Maybe my calves, too. My arms, abdomen, chest. No, no, no. How many maggots are in there in my blood vessels in my neck? Strangely, although I've become rather insane, there is still a part of me that is calm. If I keep ripping myself apart like this, I'll end up dead. That's the worst, is calm and crazy. But everything is my fault, and I'm the one to be blamed. Even if I blame my mother, the only way I can disgrace her is with my own body. I get it now. That's the best means for quelling my anger. I feel like I'm thinking incredibly rationally now. It's like someone who is crazy, but who thinks they're being rational is terrifying. In order to forgive myself, I need someone else to blame. It has to be someone else's fault. But no such person exists. No matter how much I think about it or how I twist the logic, my own body is my only outlet to vent this anger. So long as there's no one else to blame, I'll be forced to rip open every blood vessel in my body. Just like no matter how much I scratch, it still itches. No matter how much I rip apart my own body, it's not enough. The blood is all over the bathroom, and I'm sure it makes for quite the gruesome scene. Although I'm trying to stay calm, I can't ignore the sharp pain that runs through my body. Maybe because I've lost so much blood, or because I'm naked in the bathroom, I feel freezing cold. My whole body is throbbing and my heart is beating so fast. I'm cold and hot at the same time, and I'm also sad, angry, and in pain. I want to find something that lets me forgive myself. Wow, we are starting strong with this episode. Then it came, oh yeah, Oyashiro. It came in a heavenly light. It was mysterious and unreal, like something out of this world. It apologized. It kept apologizing. Why is it apologizing? You apologize when you're at fault. So this thing I just met for the first time was admitting to wronging me. Is this, Hanyu? That means I'm not at fault. It's at fault, not me. Ah. Ha ha ha. I dropped the razor blade. It fell into the puddle of blood. The pain is taking over my body. Could it be Hanyu, though? Because I don't know how far Hanyu can travel away from Rika. Or maybe this is just a delusion. I don't know. The pain of ripping apart my own body is taking over me. I've been telling myself this pain is the punishment for what I've done. But I'm not at fault. It is. So I don't need to accept this pain as a punishment. So I don't need to defile my body anymore. She continued apologizing to me over and over as I stood there covered in fresh blood. But she's saying she, so I'm thinking it's Hanyu. She apologized every time I wanted to blame myself, constantly whispering it wasn't my fault. Oyashiro-sama exists. She is always following me. Pit-pats, pit-pats. And every time I can't endure the guilt, she apologizes and tells me I'm not at fault. And Oyashiro-sama does exist in a way with Hanyu. Once again, hashtag Rena was right. Everything is caused by the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Things started to go wrong when I broke the rule I wasn't supposed to leave Hinamizawa. I finally remember. When I moved from Hinamizawa, one of my neighbors gave me a charm. She said if I left Hinamizawa I'd be cursed, so I had to take the charm. That's right, she gave me a charm. It had some complicated writing on it, but I haven't seen it since I moved here. I may have lost it. There's nothing I can do about that. If Hinamizawa residents leave Hinamizawa, they'll be cursed. My mother and I, even Uncle Akihito too, may have gone insane because of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Nobody was at fault from the beginning, because everything is caused by the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Nobody is at fault. Nobody. I'm finally able to forgive everything. The anger that I couldn't get rid of even after I destroyed everything, including my body and soul, is finally gone. Father, now I know. The curse of Oyashiro-sama is what caused my mother to leave and for you to be so sad. You remember Oyashiro-sama, don't you? The guardian deity of Hinamizawa. That's right. People of Hinamizawa aren't supposed to go to the outside world. That's why Mother went insane. It's all because of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. If we had stayed in Hinamizawa, we would have been happy. Oyashiro-sama came to me and told me that. Come to think of it, Oyashiro-sama has been trying to tell me that for a long time. After Mother left, I didn't know why she left or how to express my anger. Oyashiro-sama kept following me ever since then to let me know that. She followed me everywhere, the sound of her footsteps echoing behind me. But I pretended I didn't notice her. I was so stupid. I didn't hear her voice until I slashed my body all over. If only I had listened to Oyashiro-sama's voice. And then, of course, it's pretty obvious what the extra footsteps are. All that thing about the extra footsteps. I bet she started warning me once Uncle Akihito came into my life. If the whole family had gone back to Hinamizawa, my mother wouldn't have had an affair. We would have been happy there. I bet Oyashiro-sama has been trying to tell me that. That's right, she must have been trying to warn me ever since we left Hinamizawa. She was always with me. She followed me everywhere. I was stupid, trying to pretend I didn't notice. Everything was because of that stupidity. If I had noticed Oyashiro-sama's voice, my family wouldn't have suffered from the curse. It's all my fault. Oyashiro-sama's apologizing. She keeps apologizing, which means this is all her fault. So this isn't my fault, is it? Because this is the curse of Oyashiro-sama, right? She's apologizing, saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Oyashiro-sama is apologizing repeatedly. So I'm sorry too. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't hear your voice. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We are from Hinamizawa, so we have to keep hearing your voice. Oyashiro-sama definitely exists. Exist. Can't you hear, Father? Don't you see? Oyashiro-sama's right here apologizing. Saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, too. Come on, Father. Let's apologize, too. Mother, you don't have to apologize. You should die because of the curse. I hate you, Mother. Well, so much for the hate being gone. I hate you, Mother. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. I hate myself for being your daughter. These maggots are your fault. They make me itch everywhere. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. No, I don't want that medicine. My mother got it to kill me, so I don't want it. I won't take it. I told you I won't take it. Stop. This is a curse, so you can't fix it with medicine. It won't get rid of the maggots because this is a curse. I don't want a shot either. Stop. It hurts. Whew, boy. Alright. Looks like this might be Rena's episode. Everything is falling into a gray world. The voices of my father and the doctor sound so far away. Even what just happened seems like it happened a long time ago. Again, I'm given the capsule, and even my memory from a minute ago is gone. Damn, this is a long one. I'm back in my bed, staring at the ceiling. In what I can see, the only thing that interests me is the hands on the clock. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I follow the minute hand as it goes around quickly, and the hour hand as it goes around slowly. I see other things, too, but they keep going through the same motions like the hand on the clock. I'm sorry. It's my fault. I'm sorry. Oyashiro-sama keeps apologizing. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I'm sorry. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I'm sorry. Repeating over and over constantly and nothing else. The chorus of Higurashi coming in through the window during the night seems louder than usual. Alright, well I know exactly which one to do now. I think it's towards the end here. Red capsule. Here we go. So, yeah, this might, like I said, I think this is going to be very Rena heavily focused.
ごめんください。はいはいはい。あれ、どちら様？あ、どうも。私、お隣に引っ越してきました。リュウグウと申します。引っ越しのご挨拶にお伺いしました。どうかよろしくお願いします。あららら。こんな田舎の村にこんな若い子が引っ越してきちゃったのかい。そうかい。よく来たね。お母ちゃん、お隣さん、引っ越しのご挨拶来られたわよ。
でっけえ声出さんでも聞こえてんな。つったらわざわざ丁寧に挨拶すまなっしゃろな。
竜宮さんだって、お隣の空き家に引っ越されてきたって。
あんたレナちゃんかいな。大きゅうなって。
はい、レイナです。覚えててくれてたんですか？は
なんね、お母ちゃん知ってんのかい。
知ってるもなんと。お前沖宮に住んどったから知らんか。ずいぶん前に住んでたお隣さんね。そうかい。戻ってきたんかい。やっぱり都会よか村の方が落ち着くんねえな。
住んでたのは小さい頃なんで、あまりよくは覚えていないんですけど、でも、ここが私の帰ってくるところだったんだなって、 とても懐かしくなります。
なら馴染むのは早いね。なんかお手伝いできることがあったらいつでも言ってね。遠慮はしないのがここのルールだから。
はい、ありがとうございます。
I thought I'd remember things if I walked around the village, but I still don't remember much. I do recall, however, the vivid breeze as well as the brilliant greenery. I don't remember the village, but I remember that this is my hometown. Red scars still remain on my body. They're hardly visible and I can't even feel them. I'm sure they'll disappear soon. Now that I'm back in Hinamizawa, sometimes I wonder who I was back in Ibaraki. In fact, I think I wasn't myself from the moment I left. And now, by coming back here, I finally regained my true self. I can hardly remember what I was like back in Ibaraki. Well, that's probably because of the red medicine. The medicine erased all my painful memories. Maybe that was for the best. I just wanted to be forgiven back then. I couldn't forgive my mother. I couldn't forgive Uncle Akihito. And more than anybody, I couldn't forgive myself. I wanted someone to acknowledge that I wasn't at fault. I wanted to be forgiven. So Oyashiro-sama apologized. She told me I wasn't at fault because it was the curse of Oyashiro-sama. That's how I was able to forgive myself. I didn't have to die by tearing my blood vessels out of my body. I think people have to die because they become corrupted. That's why people try their hardest not to dirty themselves all their lives. But I'm still living despite how dirty I am. I've been allowed to live. Is there still some filth left on me? Or am I all clean? I don't know. The only thing I know is that the me who lived in Ibaraki and the me who's here right now are two different people. I no longer feel the need to take responsibility by ripping myself apart because of the filth. After arranging some furniture and unpacking some boxes, we finally had dinner. Although I hardly remember Hinamizawa, my father remembers things very clearly.
お父さんたちが南沢に住んでた頃にもあったんだけど、今は綿流しという行事がとても大きなお祭りになってるらしい。6月の終わり頃にあるらしいね。
Oh, I hope we're gonna have a thing where everybody meets, where it's like where Rena is gonna meet Mion and Sadako and Rika and how they became friends.
綿流し？
お父さんも見たことないんでわからないんだけど、体についた汚れを綿に吸い取らせて沢に流す行事らしい。
Absorb the filth.
汚れって流してしまえるものなんだね。
そりゃそうだ。人間は罪深い生き物だからね。生きてるだけで日々汚れが我が身に降り積もっていくものなんだそうだ。それを年に1回、体をお掃除するように綿に吸い取ってもらって捨ててしまおうということらしいよ。
People become burdened with filth and sin by doing something bad. Court sentences can settle your crimes legally, but that doesn't mean the burden of sin, of the filth, will just go away. In other words, human hands can't erase human filth in this human world. The filth is something humans can't get rid of, and that's why we need a god from a different world to do that. That's what I thought. But I'm surprised to learn about Watanagashi. Human hands erasing human filth in the human world, letting the cotton absorb the filth and drifting it down the stream. That means it's okay to live in this world. I tried to commit suicide because I couldn't forgive myself. Oyashiro-sama apologized to me and told me to come back to Hinamizawa. And now here in Hinamizawa, there's this Watanagashi, a ceremony to get rid of filth. This isn't just a coincidence. Hinamizawa is a place to wash away your filth. It forgives sins. It's a place of forgiveness.
そういうのをな、みそぎって言うんだ。
言葉だけは聞いたことあるかな。
日本文化というものは、汚れというものにものすごく厳格だろ。汚れを残したまま表舞台にとどまることを許さない。ほら、政治家や社長で汚職があるとすぐに辞職するのもそういうことだ。汚れた人は表舞台を去らなければならない。悪く言うと、汚れを誰か一人に押し付けて隕石させるわけだな。
Sins and filth must be removed. That's why people push them onto someone else and then try to get rid of the filth by sacrificing that person. But if that's the case, every time that filth is created, people will try to pass around responsibility for it. That's awfully hideous. It's almost like seeing demons in the human world. That's why they came up with the idea of letting the cotton absorb all the filth. By doing so, people can live without making someone else take on all the responsibilities, sins, and filth. Putting everyone's sins on someone else, and then killing that person makes that person a sacrifice. Who wants to be a sacrifice? That's why they desperately push their sins around. A purification ceremony is about replacing the human sacrifice with a non-human one. The purification ceremony dramatically changed Japanese culture. Before then, people always believed someone had to be a sacrifice. In other words, even with filth, everyone can live without blaming someone else. Filth can be forgiven by a method other than death. Only an existence higher than humans can forgive them. I was forgiven by Oyashiro-sama and came back to this place. To Watanagashi, the purification ceremony that exists here, letting cotton absorb the filth and drifting it away. There's no need for a sacrifice. That's why I've been allowed to live. The filthy me has drifted away, so the me that remains is no longer Rena Ryugu. If I'm not Rena, then who am I? If I'm without filth, without all the icky things, who am I? A name vaguely appeared in my head. My new name, the only that only removes one of the letters from Rena, but I think it's a cute name. In a way, she's kind of like Takano, right? Like she's forging a new name and a new identity. All the icky things are erased and forgiven with the removal of that one letter. So my name is no longer Rena. My name is... Okay, so the 4th year's curse has not happened yet. That is going to be Sadako's aunt. A watermelon from the Sonozaki family. Oh, the watermelon. Wasn't that given to Rika? Okay, so we might be able to do that one. But let's just take a look. Man, there's not very many left to do. We're getting to the end here. Okay, so I think it is going to be that one. I think it's going to be the new wind.
それじゃあ、俺はそろそろおいとましますわ。どうもごちそうさまでした。
ねえねえ。また来たってな。
ただいまって、あれ、ひろしおじさん。お久しぶりです。
おお、ニアンちゃん。今帰りかい。おじさんは今から送迎だよ。
送迎？ああ、不動産屋さんのお仕事？
The Sonozaki family is one of the largest landowners here in the Hinamizawa area. However, since all the land is out here in the countryside, it just ends up sitting there. Recently, the land owned by the Sonozaki family was put on sale in lots. At the family meeting, some of our relatives opposed the idea, saying we shouldn't sell off land that was handed down from our ancestors. This is going to be Keiichi. Keiichi's going to show up soon. But Granny snapped and shut them right up. Some of the unused fields were made into vacant lots and released for public sale. Actually, I had some questions about it too. The Sonozaki family is very wealthy. We have plenty of land as well as money. So why did we have to sell it off? What's more surprising to me is that Granny was the one who came up with the idea. I would have thought she would get furious if someone even mentioned something like that.
じゃあね、駅前に寄った時はぜひ遊びにおいでよ。麦茶くらいごちそうするから。
はい、ありがとうございます。お仕事はどんな感じですか？
都会な人が案外興味を持ってくれたからびっくりだわ。便利な都会に住みながら、わざわざこんな田舎に別荘が持ちたい小金持ちばっかりだね。
やれやれ、物好きなことで。
一見、別荘じゃなくて、引っ越しで検討されてるお宅があったね。アトリエが持ちたいとか言ってたから、画家さんとかかね。
へえ、そりゃすごいや。
おっと、いけねえわ。じゃ、おじさんはバスに戻るわ。
Supposedly, he planned a tour to show them the lots, and he's the one driving the bus. It should be about time for the tour and explanations to end. He left in a hurry.
ねえ、聞いていい？よそ者嫌いのバッチャがさ、どうしてわざわざ分譲地なんかにしたの？
あたしゃよそ者なんか嫌いだし。だが、村にゃ必要なんよ。空気の入れ替えみたいなもんさな。
外の人が来ることで何か村にいい影響があるっていうこと？
こかい村だね。今忙しい世の中だから。昔だったら10年20年住んでても何にも変わらん変化のない静かな村だったんよ。
まあそれが田舎ってもんだしね。この村じゃ昨日と今日と明日に何の違いもない。私は退屈だけどね。
でも友達ができたろ。外から竜宮のレナちゃんが引っ越してきて友達になってくれたんだろうが。近い年の友達ができて嬉しい言うとったがな。
うん。予期せぬ友達が突然できるのは楽しいね。
レナちゃんがコントな。いやー覚えとる。
それが外から引っ越してくることによる効果だって言いたいわけ？
どんな寒い冬場にかてたまには換気をせんとな。寒くてしんどいのは承知で窓をガラリと開けることもあるんよ。
外から人を迎えることが村の換気になる。
ああ、そしてきれいな空気を入れてあたしらみたいな悪い空気はとっとと追い出されるべきなんよ。
If I bring up the Hojo family, I know Granny will explode, so I won't. But I think what Granny is trying to say includes things like their ongoing isolation. Even now, when she remembers about what happened at that explanatory meeting, she gets really upset. But I guess even she feels that needs to come to an end. But of course, she can't just say she'll forgive them, not when she's at this stubborn age. She can't lose face by openly saying they need to be forgiven. Honestly, I think she's behaving like a little schoolgirl who actually likes a person but treats them rudely when they're around. Maybe people really do go back to being children when they get old enough. I'm not just talking about Granny. The same can be said about all the old people in the village. No, maybe I should say the evil around here. That must be what she meant by bad air. There's no use circulating the air in a closed room. Unless you open the window and let fresh air in, the air in the room won't be purified.
実際に引っ越してくる人があるかはわからないけど、その人にそこまでを期待しちゃうのは気の毒じゃない？
レナちゃんが一人転校してきても、日本は変わるね。
I'll say that was the right move because by Keiichi moving here, it changed everything for the better.
誰が引っ越してき
Or
て
it
も
will, I should say.
きっと村は変わる。願わくば、それが元気な若者で、わしら年寄り連中が安心して村を任せられるくらい大暴れしてくれよると嬉しいんだが、それこそ年寄り連中がもうやっとれんね、あの世に退散するわいうくらいにな。
死んだおじいちゃんの話？
あ、ほんとれ。誰がじいさまの話をしたんよ。ほれ、お手伝いさん言って縁側のお茶を片付けさせてくれな。
Oh, tea set on the veranda. I think that's another thing for one of the fragments.
へいへい。了解了解。
ミオン。北条サトシが消えた日。
Oh, okay. Come on, let's find out about
お
Satoshi.
前、あたしに詰め寄ったろが。
ああ、そんなこともしたね。
あたしゃな、あれで目が覚めたんよ。北条家がどうのこうのいう問題は、年寄り連中が死ねば、そんなの待たず、はよう解決せんとなあかん。
でも、自分にはそれができないから、よそ者にそれを託す。
それが、あたしにできる精一杯だね。
どんな悪い手札だって、次のドローでいい札が入れば流れが変わるきっかけになることもある。それに期待して山から札を引くのもありかもしれない。
新しい風は、みよ、お前らの世代になる。外の風を迎え入れたれな。そして、お前は内からの風となって、混じり合いながら、村のよどみを吹き飛ばしてくれ。
他力本願の極みだね。自分が火種を作ったくせに、孫にその尻拭いをさせるとは。
そういいなや。新しい風を、新しい園崎家の当主として。
それが、次期当主の仕事だってんなら。
頼むわ、みよ。あたしゃ置いたね。もう、憎まれ役しかできん。
The wind chime sounds quietly. Maybe that's a sign to let us know a cool breeze is on the way. Alright, let's get into Satoshi's disappearance. What happened with his aunt? I want to know. That's the big thing I want to know. He feels like the missing piece to all this. Okay, vacant lots. Okay, we haven't had the first year's curse yet, but we do have the death of the Ferde couple, so maybe... Will this one work? Yes! We get into the foundation of the club with Satoshi! Yes! Finally! School is the children's world. The values of grown-ups don't apply. Children decide their own values and create their own world. So the rules of the grown-up world, of the village, don't mean anything here. Even when the villagers badmouth the Hojo family and try to isolate them, that has no meaning at our school. In the children's world, children decide the rules. Rules they think are irrational don't exist here. That's why, as the representative for the children here, I vow I will never let any irrational rules come into our world. Within the school, no harassment is allowed towards the Hojo siblings. In the very beginning, some boys teased Sadako, but they were punished severely, and it hasn't happened ever since. That's the least I can do to resist the madness of the village. So I hope Satoshi and Sadako both feel that school is a safe place for them. Satoshi must notice my concern because he often smiles when he's here. However, I never see Sadako smile. Sadako's classmates used to try and cheer her up, but soon after they decided it was best to just leave her alone. I used to try to talk to her, but when I realized something, I stopped doing that. I'm a member of the Sonozaki family. To Sadako, I'm one of her enemies, so I'm sure she feels uncomfortable to have me around her. All I can do is watch over her. She must have joined the club maybe after Satoshi disappeared and her aunt and uncle and she was taken in by Rika. Maybe she feels a little bit happier. That's why Sadako is alone in the classroom. That said, Rika-chan is always hanging around with her, even though Sadako told her she was annoying. Satoshi, too, is always beside her. These two are the only ones who remain by her side. It isn't limited to Sadako, of course. The malicious isolation is still continuing towards the Hojo family. Because their hysterical aunt is so hostile towards her neighbors, there's nobody who sympathizes with her. It's wise to know that there are fights worth picking, and also fights better set aside. If the aunt had even a little tolerance or self-control, this isolation wouldn't have continued. Of course, the villagers were the ones who forced them into that role, even though they weren't related to the issue. But if she had stayed quiet, it wouldn't have gone so far. The aunt's hostility is one thing, but she's dragging everyone in the family into it as well. The uncle and aunt haven't been getting along, and he hardly comes home. Both Satoshi and Sadako are forced to live in shame. The aunt vents her stress by harassing Sadako. This was the same too. The aunt is her guardian after all, but Sadako doesn't even try to hide her disgust, so things aren't going smoothly between them. If she had behaved like Satoshi, she wouldn't have been made into a target. So does that mean the sad life Sadako is living right now is something she caused herself? No, it doesn't. But no matter how much I sympathize and how much I want to help her, nobody knows what to do. An apology won't change the situation. The flow can't be reversed. The fact that the Hojo family is ostracized by the entire village can't be changed. That's the horribleness lurking underneath our lives. The neighbors, the village, and the community. Once they become your enemies, the world can become so cruel. Japanese people have known that since ancient times, which is why we cultivated empathy and an obligation to show courtesy to one's neighbors. No matter who I blame, Sadako won't smile. So the only thing I can do is watch over her and make sure she's safe when she's at school.
ありがとう、ミオ。
ごめん、何？
貞子にいつも気を使ってくれてありがとうって。
Satoshi kind of appears absent-minded, but sometimes he says things as if he can read your thoughts. I tried to deny it since it's out of character for me, but he smiled as if he could tell exactly what I was thinking.
貞子は笑顔の浮かべ方を忘れてしまっただけなんだよ。学校にいる時は本当に少しだけ肩の力を抜ける時間を得られてる。それはきっと貞子にとってとても優しい時間になってるって思ってるよ。
おじさんが気を使えるのはせいぜいこの程度だしね。
そんなことないよ。僕も感謝してるよ。
よしてよ。感謝されることなんかないって。迷惑かけてるのは多分うちなんだしさ。
そんなこと思ってないよ。全然。
I'm not good at reading people's subtle cues, but I know for sure what he just said is a lie. Satoshi knows that he and his family are being isolated because of the Sonozakis, and he is of course aware I'm a member of the Sonozaki family too. Satoshi is mature, and that's the only reason he doesn't take it out on me. If he had the same temper as his aunt, he would hate me bitterly. Knowing that, the least I can do is not get close to them. But I'm a meddlesome person, and when I see Sadako looking depressed, or Satoshi forcing himself to smile, I have to do something. That might be even more troublesome to Satoshi and Sadako, though.
私、聡子の気持ちを全然理解してないのかな。
どうして？
聡子が辛い思いをしてる一番の原因は、うちそこの娘の私が聡子の周りをうろちょろすることは空気の読めてないことなのかなって。
そんなことはないよ。ミオンはそれくらいがちょうどいいと思うけどな。
何よそれ。私は無神経な方がぴったりだって言うの？
そういう意味じゃないよ。その空気というのが貞子から笑顔を奪っているのなら、そんな空気なんか全然気にしない人じゃなきゃ貞子に笑顔は戻せないって思ってるから。
うまいこと言ってるけど、さりげなくおじさんのことバカにしてるでしょ。ひどいな。
バカにしてなんかいないよ。
He's so cute.
助けてほしいだけなんだよ。僕一人の力じゃ貞子に笑顔は戻せない。ミオンみたいな力強い人の助けがいるんだよ。
でも私園崎家のミオンだよ。私なんかが無神経なことやったらかえって聡子を傷つけるかも。
その空気が貞子を一人ぼっちにしているのに、だからミオンも貞子を一人ぼっちにするのかい？
This is the first time Satoshi has asked me for something so aggressively. Sadako is a very important person to him. He's saying he needs my help to make her smile again. But still, no, maybe he's right. What's going on between the Sonozaki family and the Hojo family is an issue among the grown-ups. We children don't need to care about that. The irrational rules of the grown-ups don't mean anything in our world. So I have to object to the irrationality of the grown-up world using methods of my own.
聡子は本当に私のこと迷惑に思わないかな。
初めは少しは思うかもしれない。でも僕も一緒だから、ミオンと一緒だから、すぐに打ち解けるよ。
そうかな。今日学校が終わったら聡子を遊びに誘ってみる？
家に帰るとおばさんにいろいろ言われて表に出られなくなってしまうかもしれない。
Oh my gosh, so the club was created for Sadako and Satoshi to have a safe place.
なら簡単だね。
That's so sweet.
家に帰らずに遊べばいいんだ。
でも帰りがあまりにも遅くなると 何の道草を食っていたんだと。
ならさ、部活動に加わったっていうのはどう？
部活？
うん。部活ってことにして、学校で遊んでから帰ればいいじゃん。だって、学校から帰らないでそのまま遊んでる男の子だって大勢いるんだしね。全然問題ないよ。
でも服を汚すとまたおばさんに。
ふふん。ならさ、アウトドアじゃなくてインドア中心にすればいいわけよ。それなら服も汚れないしね。
インドアってことは教室？でもあんまり暴れると千恵先生に。
インドアで暴れずに。だけれども熱く遊ぶことは可能なんだよ。おじさん、こう見えてもゲームが大好きでね。海外ものの貴重なものとか結構集めてたりするのさ。マニュアルが英語だったり難しかったりで対戦してくれる相手がいなくて死蔵しちゃってるのが多いんだけどね。
それ聡子にも遊べるかな？
もちろんルールなんてね、わかんなかったらその場で作っちゃえばいいんだよ。全員が同じルールに従う以上、どんなルールだったって公平なんだからね。
I said it so confidently, but would bringing games from home and asking Sadako to play with us actually make her smile again? What have I got to lose? Maybe I'll bring one of the board games tomorrow.
あとさ、ミオン、相談があるんだけど。
何？おじさんで乗れる相談なら何でも聞いてよ。
僕、
Oh,
アルバイトを探してるんだ。
oh, okay.
聡子を元気づけるのに、
Oh,
誕
here
生
it
日に素
comes.
敵なプレゼントをしたら
Here it
喜
comes.
ぶかなって思って。
We're gonna get into Satoshi's backstory more. Yes, I'm excited. This is what I've been waiting for. Now this is gonna open up all the avenues. With this, we're gonna open up all of the different fragments. All right. Satoshi. Okay, this one. Footsteps in the 4th year. So this is when he's going to start to feel the paranoia, I assume, especially because they're talking about footsteps. So I assume we're going to be doing the footsteps. He starts to hear the footsteps, and then from that, we're going to go to the notice of leave of absence, where he's going to leave the baseball team, and then we're going to find out what happened on that year with his aunt. Oh, I'm excited. My harsh and brutal days are still continuing without end. The situation between my aunt and Sadako remains the same. My aunt yells at Sadako for no reason every night. Although Sadako cries, she still talks back to her. So my aunt's yelling goes on and on forever. Sadako's crying goes on and on too. Man, what a whiplash from like the club thing. I'm like, oh, it's so sweet. And then this is like, oh, this is brutal. When Sadako sees me, she grabs on to me. She hides behind my back and tries to ignore my aunt's yelling. She always comes to seek my help. Sadako doesn't open up to anyone but me. So if I don't protect her, she'll be devastated. That security is something our parents didn't grant to Sadako. I have to be the one to provide it. But every day, day after day, every time Sadako cries, every day, day after day, Sadako grabbed onto me while crying yesterday. I patted her head, but along with pity, a different emotion came to me. Ooh. I wanted to grasp her head and smash her against the wall. What an unbelievably devilish and awful emotion. Hey, we all get those intrusive thoughts, okay? I can understand. It's like you just get those thoughts in your head that scare you sometimes. Even though you'd never do it. No. I can't think that. No, it's not that I can't think it. I just can't acknowledge that feeling. Since that day, there's been someone else inside of me. That someone is trying to eat me up from the inside and switch places with me. When Sadako begs for my help while crying, that person tries to make me spill out some awful and hateful words that are sure to damage Sadako forever. Leave me alone. Don't grab onto me. Go away. No, I can't. To prevent him from taking over my body, I clenched my stomach and drove him out. I managed to do that. But that wasn't it. That person is coming after me, trying to get back inside of me. I won't let such a scary thing get back inside of me. He knows there's no room to slip into my heart as long as I keep it held shut like this. So he stopped trying, and instead is following right behind me. He's waiting for me to let my guard down. When I walk, he walks right behind me. So at first, like, I was thinking the footsteps were Hanyu, and maybe they are Hanyu, but maybe it's just like it's a shared paranoia that everyone seems to get where they hear footsteps. So I don't know if it's Hanyu's footsteps they hear, or if this is just like part of the paranoia they experience when they, I assume, reach L4 or L5. He's breathing down my neck. He follows me everywhere, and when I lie down, he stares down at me. He's waiting for the right moment to jump back inside of me so he can hurt Sadako. I assume it's Hanyu, but they interpret it as something that's evil. It's been so hot lately. Maybe the heat is getting to me, and that's why I think things like this. I'm the only family Sadako has, so I'll have to protect her from my aunt for the rest of my life. That's my eternal duty. The rest of my life? Forever? Do I really have to do that forever? Oh, maybe he did leave. Maybe he just couldn't handle it anymore. Like, that's the big thing I want to know is, like, did he die? Did he run away? Is he still alive? If only Sadako. But I'm her only family. But it's because of my aunt. Maybe he killed the aunts, and it was like, she can stay with someone else, I have to go. But, like, the thing is, the whole thing was, I assume if he did kill the aunts, he did it so that they could be happy again. So then why would he run away? I assume it was something else. But it's because of the villagers, too. I mean, if he did kill the aunts, he maybe ran away being like, I am going to get caught by the cops eventually, and, you know, it's going to devastate Sadako if I go to jail, so maybe if I run away, like, maybe he talked to Mion, and Mion maybe got him, like, somewhere where he could stay and hide out. I don't know. That's the big mystery, is like, what happened to Satoshi? It's almost what Tanagashi. Some irresponsible people are saying the curse will once again fall upon Hinamizawa. They're also saying it'll fall upon me and Sadako for sure. Maybe it's just my imagination, but lately the villagers expecting it are giving me especially sharp looks. I feel like I'll be killed on the day of Watanagashi. Of course, there is no reason why I would be killed, and it's just my imagination. Ah, pat, 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 pat. Don't come inside of me. Sadako is my only sister and my family, so don't tell me those awful things. Pat, pat, pat. Stop, stop. Don't come this way. Don't come this way. The footsteps came up right behind me, and the hand touched me on the shoulder.
Rena か。
大丈夫かな
I must have been acting weird. Rena looked worried. Her name is Rena Ryugu. She just moved here and transferred to my school. Nobody remembers her, but supposedly she lived here in Hinamizawa a long time ago. I just realized, and I don't want to believe it, maybe if Takano knows about what Satoshi did and knows that he's experiencing L5, maybe she kidnapped him and experimented on him while he was still alive and he experienced a horrible death. In fact, she hardly remembers anything about Hinamizawa either. Since Mion is the only other classmate who's my age, I'm glad she's my friend. She usually carries on happily alongside Mion, but occasionally she shows more feminine consideration.
具合悪いの保健室で休んだ方がいいんじゃないかな
ありがとう。大丈夫だよ。僕、そんなにも具合が悪そうだったかい？
うん。
Her immediate answer made me realize I wasn't myself.
さとこちゃんのことで心配事
いや、そういうわけじゃないんだよ。
I wonder if Rena's like, I can hear the footsteps too. She knows my problem isn't physical, but a mental one. This is just something I think to myself, but even though Rena seems like a very easygoing person, maybe she's more perceptive than she appears.
レナは転校してきたばかりだから頼りないかもしれないけど話を聞くことはできるからねきっと聞いてあげるだけでも少しは心が軽くなると思うから
Although she just transferred, she already knows quite a bit about me and my sister, and also about the situation with the villagers. But talking about it won't solve anything. Actually, if I talk about it, I feel like I'd be admitting to my weakness. which might give that person a chance to get inside of me again. There's the paranoia and not trusting people.
さっき声をかけたらすごく驚いたでしょ。そんなにも考え事をしてるならきっと辛い悩みなんだろうなって思って。はあ。
それはなぜか最近誰かにずっと後をつけられているような錯覚がしてね。ひたひたペタペタだからそれかと思ってってごめん、僕は一体何を言ってるんだか。
足音ついてくるの？
え？
私その足音知ってる。
Okay. I wonder though if he knows it's Oyashiro-sama, maybe the paranoia is going to set in even more like, oh god, like, I'm cursed, I'm going to die. So maybe he figured if he's going to die, he's like, well, I might as well take out the ant. Alright. Here we go. I think we can do this one. Yes. Okay. I am excited and nervous at the same time to find out what
そう
happened.
ですか。いえいえ、届けなんていりません。サトシ君は我がひなみざわファイターズの頼もしい選手なんですからね。席はちゃんと開けてあります。いつでも戻ってきていいんですからね。
わかりません。
Oh, he already is like, I'm not going to be coming back. So he's planning something. Like I said, I think maybe he thinks he's going to be cursed. So maybe he's going to kill the ant thinking that he's going to die anyway? I don't know.
当分は戻ってこれないと思うので、一度退部にしてもらった方がいいと思いまして。
Satoshi-kun says he wants to quit the Hinamizawa fighters. I know very well of Satoshi-kun and Sadako-chan's situation, so I was expecting he might say this. The relationship between Sadako-chan and her aunt has gotten worse to the point it can be considered abuse. When someone from the child consultation center came, of course her aunt behaved herself. Then immediately after, her harassment turned even more vicious. According to the neighbors, the aunt's scolding and Sadako-chan's crying can be heard nightly, and sometimes it goes on past midnight. Sadako-chan's weekly physical checkup results are slowly growing worse, and we're trying to keep her stable by increasing her medication. But unless her relationship with her aunt improves, she's sure to go terminal and sink into madness. Although she isn't the type to become deranged, even at the terminal stage. She's the type who holds everything in, harboring her insanity inside. Just like she pushed her parents off the cliff 2 years ago, Sadako-chan may kill her aunt. Ooh. Maybe Sadako was going to kill the aunt and maybe Satoshi did instead? Or maybe he killed the aunt before Sadako could so that she wouldn't harbor that... Maybe Satoshi knows that Sadako killed their parents, and maybe is like, I don't want her to kill the aunt as well. I wonder if Satoshi knows. Maybe not. Thanks to the mountain dogs, the incident was resolved as an accident, and Oishi stepped aside, although he is still suspicious. If something like that happens again around Sadako-chan, he's sure to investigate her mercilessly. Or maybe the mountain dogs killed the aunt, to be like, we don't want Sadako to turn terminal, so it's like if we get rid of the aunt, then the source of the abuse and the source of her stress is going to go away. I can't do anything more about Sadako-chan's environment changing for the worse. So I'm not surprised to hear that Satoshi-kun wants to quit the baseball team so he can be with his sister more.
実は僕、アルバイトを始めるんです。それで、あまり野球に出られなくて。
アルバイトですか。何か買いたいものでもあるんですか。
はい。もうすぐ、サトコの誕生日なんです。サトコが欲しがっているぬいぐるみがあるので、それをプレゼントしてやりたいと思いまして。
That's right. I remember the birth date on her insurance card. I think it's June 24th, right after the Watanagashi festival.
そうですか。サトシ君は本当に妹思いのお兄さんですね。それはきっとサトコちゃんも喜んでくれるでしょう。
喜んでくれると嬉しいです。
I can tell Satoshi-kun is also stressed out. To him, seeing Sadako-chan being harassed is the same thing as being harassed himself. His stress can be released through moderate exercise, such as with sports, and also with plenty of rest. If Sadako-chan is being yelled at nightly, then it's easy to figure out that Satoshi-kun isn't getting enough sleep either. I don't know what kind of job he's starting, but I don't think he'll be able to vent his stress on it. In fact, I don't like the idea of Satoshi-kun taking a part-time job, because he's already so worn out in every way. I asked him if he wanted me to help him pay for the present, but of course he declined the offer. It's a present from him, so he wants to earn the money himself. He's taking this part-time job only to earn enough money to buy Sadako-chan's present, so it'll be a temporary thing. If it's for a short period of time, maybe it won't be that bad. While I want to stop him from working because I don't want him to get even more stressed, since he says Sadako-chan's birthday is near, I don't think I can stop him. Satoshi-kun is determined. If I say any more, I may lose his trust, so I'll have to accept his leave of absence.
そうだ。監督、バットを
Oh,
一本借りてい
oh,
っ
the
てもいい
bats.
ですか?
The bats, the bat, the bat. I completely misunderstood his words. Later I found out he carried around that bat to protect himself, and realized that even then he was already showing some dangerous symptoms. He believed there would be a fourth mysterious death this year, and that he would be the victim. He became obsessed with the idea that someone was after his life, so him having the bat was because he thought someone was following him. The paranoia has kicked in, so maybe he didn't kill the ant at all. Maybe it was Sadako. That is a symptom of Hinamizawa syndrome's terminal stage. But although I was involved so deeply with the syndrome, I was careless.
バットですか？はて、何に使うんですか？
Satoshi-kun had his own bat, so he should have asked if he could take it home, but instead he asked if he could borrow it. When I think about it now, he said it that way to lighten his guilty conscience. But how could I have known then? Oh, it's all leading toward his aunt, him killing his aunt.
野球にはそんなに来れなくなりますけど、でもきっと一人で素振りの練習をするくらいの時間は取れると思うので。
それはいいですね。そういうことならぜひ持って行ってください。素振りをするときは十分周りを確認して危険がないよう注意してからやってくださいね。ご近所迷惑でなければタイヤを吊るしてそれを打つのもいい練習になるでしょう。
Or a human skull. Swinging a bat can release stress, so letting him take his bat home will help. That's what I thought. But that was a huge mistake. I realized it only when things were already past the point of no return. Yes, alright, here we go. We have the bat. We can get into the fourth murder, aka the murder of the ant, and find out what really happened. This is what I've been waiting for. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Here it is! A bat to beat her to death is required. Alright, we were prepared to respond quickly this year. That was why we were able to start the investigation immediately by securing the crime scene. The victim is the wife of the younger brother of the Hojo couple, so she's an extremely suitable target for the first year's curse of Oyashiro-sama. She has a horrible reputation among the locals. After the incident, everyone said she deserved to be cursed. I have a general idea of who the culprit must be. It's probably Satoshi Hojo. That innocent-looking kid. There's even a motive. The deceased abused his sister relentlessly, so this would be in revenge for that. Also, when he attended the inspection of the crime scene, he was rather frantic, yet also far too composed, as if he was totally unrelated to the incident. My intuition from many years of police work tells me that 8 or 9 times out of 10, someone who acts like that is the perp. I have no concrete proof, but if I question him and shake him up a bit, I have a feeling he'll confess.
これだけ仏をめった打ちにしていれば、星も返り血を少なからず浴びたものと思います。そいつが見つけられれば決め手になりそうですね。
まあよっぽどの間抜けでなけりゃ処分してるでしょうがね。犯行を認めた後に捨てたと称する場所から発見できれば、検察も納得してくれるでしょう。
This was pretty insignificant as a standalone case. A confession from Satoshi Hojo would end it. Everyone except me must believe that. But if I look at it as part of the series of mysterious deaths, it won't be so easy. Either the 3 families of the village or the Sonozaki family alone is directly involved in this. If they are the ones pulling the strings, they must have instigated Satoshi Hojo into committing the crime. If so, Satoshi Hojo is someone who knows way too much about them. The Sonozaki family's actions must remain hidden. If he could connect them to the crime, would they let him run around freely? Satoshi Hojo is a loving brother who cares very much for his sister, and he set him up to kill his aunt as the fourth year's curse. After that, they will eliminate the one person who can connect them to the crime. Satoshi Hojo is not just a simple criminal. He was set up. And after that, my suspicions were confirmed. For he abruptly vanished. Oh, come on, I want to get into this. No, it's going over all the stuff I already know. He disappeared in such a puzzling way. He didn't run because he was afraid his crime had come to light. Another culprit came into the picture. He was already arrested for a different crime, and furthermore, he died while in prison. He confessed to information only the culprit himself would have known. Therefore, he must be the culprit. But as he's already dead, the investigation was closed. Then Satoshi Hojo disappeared a few days after the festival. It's obvious someone doesn't want Satoshi Hojo to be connected to this incident. My boss put pressure on me to close the investigation and to file Satoshi Hojo's disappearance as a separate incident. He even handed the case over to a different section. The way this case is closing so rapidly greatly resembles the same trick used 2 years ago with the Hojo's couple's accident. Well, yeah, it's like they said, they've got Takano and the Mountain Dogs. They have some pull in the police department too, right? There's no doubt it's the work of someone who could put pressure on the police. As it happens, the Sonozaki family is the only one who can actually exact influence on the police department here in the Hinamizawa area. Not true, not true. They may think their trails are covered, but this points towards them more clearly than anything. It's just sad to see Oishi. He's so off base, like he's so close yet so far. According to my informant, Oreo Sonozaki mentioned the fourth year's curse at the family meeting and hinted she was the one behind it all. Hinting isn't strong enough evidence, but there's no mistaking that Oreo Sonozaki is the one pulling the strings. I know they're the ones who did in the old man, but I just can't grab them. The principal offender is still on the loose, but I'm sure he's being sheltered somewhere by the Sonozaki family. I have to locate him and find that missing right arm. I'll return the arm to his grave and make the principal offender and the masterminds both bow down before it. However, just like how Satoshi Hojo disappeared, it's possible the principal offender has already been eliminated. I bet he's already been killed and buried somewhere nobody can find. If that's the case, then that's fine. I'll make the old bag who ordered someone to kill the old man slam her forehead on the ground before his grave. This, I swear. After the fourth year's curse, people are already saying something will happen again next year. Even with all my preparations, I couldn't prevent the incident from happening this time. It's too late if something happens. I must keep my eye on the core of the village before something takes place. There's a reason why I have to get to the bottom of this by next year. Because I'm retiring. My mother has been wanting to go back to her hometown in Hokkaido. And for a long time she's been asking me to move there when I retire. I feel that's the least I can do for her, so I agreed to move to Hokkaido when I retire. So next year is my last chance to avenge the old man's death. It happened 4 years in a row. So more than likely there will be a fifth curse too. As a result of the series of mysterious deaths, the village has been tightly knit together since the dam protests. They were told that betrayers will be punished in the name of the curse. To the masterminds, that's enough reason to continue with the series of mysterious deaths. According to rumors, this year's victim, the aunt, was cursed because she didn't participate in the Watanagashi festival. So there are villagers who believe that if they don't participate in next year's Watanagashi, they'll be cursed. It'll be a huge festival next year for sure. Something will happen. The series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as the curse of Oyashiro-sama. I will avenge the old man. I definitely will. Damn it, no new information. I feel like we're going to have to get to the point where when the game board is set up, like the very last fragments, that's when everything's going to come together. That was so disappointing. I was really hoping to get some more information. But look at that, all clear. We've got one page, all done. This one's almost all done. And I think we can do this one right now. Ooh, the forced sacrifice. Ooh, maybe we're going to get the information here because Takano is here. The forced sacrifice. Maybe it was Takano and Eri. Maybe they conspired to kill the aunt to help Sadako. Let's see. The village was in an uproar, because the fourth mysterious death in a row, which everybody believed would happen, actually did. Sadako-chan's aunt was killed. All the villagers felt rather satisfied about this incident, saying the curse finally fell on her for being a local troublemaker. But I know the truth. Oh, here we go. When I saw the beaten-up body at the crime scene, I knew Satoshi-kun was responsible for it. Her abuse towards Sadako-chan was getting worse and worse. Satoshi-kun wanted to protect her, so he brought home a baseball bat. All the signs were there, so I didn't even need to hear it from Satoshi-kun. Yet I couldn't avoid questioning myself. I felt bad for the Hojo siblings, who had no one on their side, so I tried to be their ally. In the end, I failed to be any help to them. The phone rang. It was Satoshi-kun. He's never called me before. What happened? Does he want me to help him? If so, I will. I truly feel that way.
監督ですか。お仕事中にすみませんでした。
いえいえ、気になさらないでください。どうかなさいましたか？
車を持っている人が他に思いつかなかったんで。
車ですか？ええ、ありますよ。
実は今沖宮のおもちゃ屋さんの前にいるんです。ミオンのおじさんのおもちゃ屋じゃなくて、もう一軒の歯医者さんの近くにあるおもちゃ屋さんの方です。
ああ、わかりますわかります。
それで聡子の誕生日プレゼントのぬいぐるみを変えたんですけど、大きくって自転車に積めないんです。
Oh, that's weird, because wasn't the bear on hold at Mion's uncle's place? So, but then he got it from a different store.
大きくってサトシ君、あなたどれだけ大きなぬいぐるみを買ったんですか？
I guess he didn't think about it when he went to the toy store on his bicycle, and now he's stuck. That's so typical of him. I can't help but smile warmly. In other words, he can't carry both the bicycle and the teddy bear, so he wants me to come pick him up. I told him I'd be right over and headed to the toy store in Okuniya. Maybe we'll get some answers. When I got there, I found the teddy bear he bought is a lot bigger than I imagined.
これは大きいですね。確かにこれじゃ自転車は無理でしょう。
The teddy bear is so big that Satoshi-kun can hardly wrap his arms around it. If he puts it on his lap in the passenger seat, he wouldn't be able to see anything. We loaded the bicycle in the back seat and stuffed the teddy bear in the trunk.
しかし、これだけの大きなぬいぐるみともなると高かったでしょう。
ええ、まあ、そこそこね。
At first, I thought he was sweating because of the heat, but he's acting oddly, as if he has a high fever and his consciousness is coming and going.
どうしましたか？具合でも悪いんですか？
多分、いえ、風邪です。
それはよくありませんね。診療所に寄っていきませんか？具合を見てあげましょう。
ありがとうございます。
Uh-oh. When he called earlier, he didn't sound this way. Did he become ill all of a sudden?
どうぞ、リクライニングを倒して冷房が強すぎませんか？大丈夫ですか？
Uh-oh. His face is turning pale. I can tell he has a high fever. Satoshi-kun was pushing himself to buy this teddy bear. A teddy bear this size can't be that cheap. For him to earn enough money in such a short period of time, he must have worked hard and long hours. Oh boy, I'm afraid he's gonna die, and then Takano is gonna be like, well, might as well use him as a, what's the word? Like, we might as well check his body and look at it if he's in a terminal stage. Although that wouldn't work because the terminal, like, once they die, doesn't the, the pathogen or whatever, it, you can't see it anymore. Maybe he felt relieved now that he got the teddy bear he'd wanted to buy. It's not unusual for a person to collapse after reaching his big goal.
しかし、よく頑張りましたね。こんなにも大きなぬいぐるみを。さとこちゃん、きっと喜ぶと思いますよ。
喜んで欲しいです。
喜びますよ。私が保証しちゃいます。
もうおばさんもいない、おじさんも帰ってこない。もうこれで聡子をいじめる人はいないんですよね。
Oh boy, he did do it, didn't he?
そうですね。もう聡子ちゃんをいじめる人はいません。だからこれからはゆっくりと過ごしていいんです。
おばさんはいないんですよね。死んだんですもんね。
はい、確かに死にました。検視には私も立ち会っています。間違いありませんよ。だからもう二度と聡子ちゃんをいじめたりはしません。
本当におばさんが死んでるのは。
はい、間違いなく。
じゃあた
Oh
まに
boy.
通りすがるおばさんにそっくりな人がいても、それはおばさんじゃないんですよね。おばさんが実は生きてて
Oh
退
boy.
院してきたとか、
Yep.
そういうんじゃないんですよね。
Just like when Sadako thought she saw the uncle even after Keiichi had killed the uncle. It's like now Satoshi is seeing the aunt even after he killed the aunt. Still not completely confirmed, but it definitely is leaning towards that way, that he killed her.
そんなことはありえません。二度と私たちの前に現れることはありませんよ。
Yep, he's in terminal.
じゃああの人、あれもよく似てるけどおばさんじゃないんですよね。ですよね。
Satoshi-kun pointed at the oncoming car in fear. Of course, the car passed by so quickly I couldn't see her face. But no matter how much she looked like her, it's impossible for her to be alive. Maybe he's going to take him to the clinic and try and give him the shot to help with the, with this paranoia. But maybe something happens. I don't know. I need to know. I need to know.
あの人もあんなにそっくりでも、だって僕を見ましたよ。
落ち着いてください。おばさんは完全に死にました。だからどんなに似ていてもそれはおばさんではありません。
似てる。いや、違う。本当におばさんなんだ。おばさんがまだあんなに殺した。
Oh boy. Yep.
あんなに殴ったのに。
Okay. Confirmation.
なんで
I can only try to stay calm and drive. Satoshi-kun is losing his cool. He's delusional. He's seeing his aunt coming back from the dead. Then I finally realize Satoshi-kun is displaying symptoms of the terminal stage. I need to examine him once I get to the clinic. It's different from Sadako-chan's case. We already have the cure. We can treat Satoshi-kun. If I talk to the mountain dogs, they'll take care of the murder of his aunt. So I can both save him from going terminal and give him back his peaceful days with Sadako-chan. He was deranged until just a minute ago, but now he's gone quiet. He didn't fall asleep. I must get him to the clinic while Satoshi-kun remains in this calm state. There's no guarantee he won't attack me while I'm driving. As if he knows what's going through my mind, Satoshi-kun spoke to me quietly.
監督、これってやっぱりお社様のたたりなんでしょうか。
たたりなんかありません。どうか気を強く持ってください。
聡子、ごめん。ぬいぐるみを買う直前まで僕はそのお金でどこか遠くに逃げてしまおうって思ってたんだ。だからそんな僕をお社様は許さなかったんだ。僕は兄失格なんだ。僕は
無理に喋らなくていいですよ。まぶたを閉じて休んでいてください。すぐに診療所に着きますからね。
Oh boy, I'm afraid he's gonna do something to himself.
そうしたら
Is he gonna
具合のすぐ良くなる薬をあげますからね。
Is he gonna like jump out of the car and kill himself or something?
僕の血の中にも
Oh no, he's gonna like
虫が湧いてるのかな。
Is he gonna cut himself? Is he gonna he's gonna like claw his throat or something?
かゆい。
Oh no.
書かないで。喉を書いてはいけません。
Oh no. We arrived at the back door to the clinic. I slammed the brakes and stopped the car. Satoshi-kun has already started to claw at his throat. Shit, I can't stop him by myself. I asked for some help through the intercom. Some staff members came out immediately. Maybe Satoshi-kun was surprised to see so many people at once because he started to resist. I don't even need to run tests. He's at L5. He's reached the terminal stage and his thoughts must be filled with delusions. Maybe he thinks the staff members want to kill him. The staff members pinned his arms and legs down and gave him a shot to put him to sleep.
監督、助けて。大丈夫ですよ。すぐに治療しますから。しばらくの間、楽にしていてください。監督。里子。お願い。
Please take care of Sadako. After saying those words, he fell unconscious. Oh boy.
あら、騒がしいと思ったら、これ。
サトシ君が。
Sorry, I don't mean to skip. I'm just like, I need to know what's going on.
彼の日頃のストレスを考えれば、いつ発症してもおかしくなかったでしょう。いや、ぬいぐるみを買うまで自制心でそれをずっと抑え続けてきたに違いありません。
なんだか毎年綿流しになると生きた検体が手に入りますわね。
She wants to dissect him.
これもお社様のたたりのおかげなのかしら。
Although they have the cure, but they still want to do, they want to do more experiments and tests too. I don't have time to listen to her nonsense. Oh boy, I bet, yeah, she's probably, when Erie's not there, she's probably gonna dissect him or kill him. She's probably, oh god, Satoshi, poor Satoshi. Because she didn't get to do that with Sadako, so now she's got Satoshi there. Okay, man, we are like flying through these. Look at this, look, we're almost done. This is crazy. Okay, and now we're gonna get into Keiichi's thing. Man, after this, I don't give a shit about Keiichi. I want to know more about Satoshi. Alright. This music feels so wrong after what just happened. I don't know what to do. My name is Ichiro Maibara, and I am hopelessly lost. Oh, this is the dad. I came to Hinamizawa on a tour to find a lot for a vacation home. When the realtor finished explaining some details, he told us to take a walk until the departure time. Such beautiful scenery and fresh air. I let my senses guide me, and here I am. Where am I? I still have a little time before the departure, but I'm completely lost. This is basically the middle of nowhere, but people actually do live here. If I keep walking, I should run into somebody. Then I can ask for directions. Don't worry. Ha ha ha. The only thing I need to keep in mind is the departure time for the bullet train. But the more time passes, the more I start to think I was being too optimistic about running into somebody. Because I can't find anybody at all. Maybe I'm walking farther and farther away from people are, in which case I'm in serious trouble. So upon hearing someone's voice, I feel immensely relieved. It sounds like little girls are playing nearby. If it's a place where little kids can play, it must be a safe village. I follow those voices. Upon rounding the wild pampas grass, I can see a beautiful field. 2 girls are playing there. The 2 girls are dancing in the field filled with blooming wildflowers. What I'm seeing is more beautiful than all the great works of art I've seen put together. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but this looks holier than any religious painting. Why is it that seeing innocent girls dance around like this makes people feel this way? It's probably because we're sinners. You can't live with pleasure and glory alone. We sin even as we live. That's why we feel awed by the sight of innocence. It reminds us of the time when we were pure. We grow up naturally, and we lose innocence as we do, and we admire and adore the children who symbolize that which we've lost.
みーとかなんとか小難しいことを言いながら変な不審者が僕たちをじっと見ていますのです。はあ、リカ、あれは不審者ではありませんのです。
Haven't seen Hanyu in so long. Eh? Oh. Sorry. I'm not suspicious. Wahaha.
とか言いながら僕の美しさから目が離せないのです。ニパー。
No, I'm not. Don't turn me in. I really wasn't staring. I was using this mirror to fix my hair.
何言っ ってるかわかんないのですが、とっても面白いことを言っている気がしますのです。
So it's interesting that the dad can see Hanyu pretty clearly.
なんというか、血は争えないという気がしますです。
The girls teased me for a while, and when they got tired of doing that, they went back to dancing around. Realizing that whatever I said would backfire, I decided to leave them alone and sat down to watch them play. I wonder how old they are. They seem rather young, but maybe they could be close to Keiichi's age. If we move here, Keiichi might meet them at school. If he would see them at school, then they were girls that lived here. If all the children in Hinamizawa are like them, then even if living a rural life might have some challenges, there's a good reason for us to move here. We're not very good parents. We didn't understand what Keiichi was going through and left him alone until the very end. According to the parenting book I bought, the first few problems are calls for help. It doesn't matter what the action itself is, but the fact that those actions are occurring is a primitive appeal for the child seeking communication. Humans can speak, and that's one of the reasons why we don't notice such signs. We can only hear words through our ears, and we can't sense the signs coming from our son's heart. Keiichi probably thinks it's all his fault. Of course, he's not absent of blame. Humans aren't dogs or cats. We should know what's right and what's wrong. But it's our fault too as his parents. To let him think he had to go that far for us to be able to understand him is really pathetic and disappointing of us. If we'd understood him and hadn't cornered him, Keiichi wouldn't have done that. So the incidents weren't only Keiichi's fault. Everyone in the Maibara family was to blame. I want to explain that to him, but he's still too young and hot-headed to be able to understand. Right now, the guilt he's feeling is basically crushing him under its weight. He doesn't even have the will to live. My wife is the same. She's blaming herself for forcing him to study for better grades. She thinks that's why the incidents took place. And I'm no different. I'm blaming myself for not being involved in my son's education. I think that's why the incidents took place. The cross will be forever on our shoulders even after the injured child accepts our apologies. Yet our cold society would tell us to die under the weight of that cross. Even so, we have to live. We have to accept our sins and carry our burdens on our shoulders. Maybe we can start a new life here in this village. I thought about all that as I watched the girls dance. Keiichi needs friends like them. Friends like those girls will offer him so much more than the friends who only talked about cram schools and exam results. The girls are playing near a sign that doesn't fit in this open field. It's a sign about lots for sale, and the name of the realtor who brought me here for the tour is written on it. Does that mean we can live, even in this beautiful area, if we want to? One of the girls spoke as if reading my mind.
ここはいい村なのですよ。きっと都会にはなかったものがあるのです。
Yeah, that's right. I think so too.
でもこの村にないものをきっと都会のあなたが持ってきてくれる気がするのです。
Do we have anything?
ありますのですよ。ああ。僕たちはこの村で何百年間もこうしています。そこには誰も訪れず、何も起こりませんです。だから何も起きないし、何も変えられない。
Isn't that what's good about this place?
何かを変わりたいと思うからこの村に来たのじゃないのですか？
Yeah, you're right about that.
僕たちも新しい人を迎えたい。それは例えるなら水の流れ出ぬ沼の堰を破るようなもの。水は出入りがあるからこそ清水となる。確かにこの村は明治のついこの間まで沼の名前がついた村でしたのです。でもそれが変わり、ひなみ沢という地名に変わりましたのです。沼の水は流れずよどむ。でも沢の水はよどまない。それにね、あなたたちが教えてくれるのよ。堰は破れるものだ、破るものだってね。
Are they playing riddles with me? I have no idea what they're trying to say. But there's one thing I know. The villagers are waiting for new people to come here, and they want to build a future with those newcomers. I looked at the sign behind the girls one more time, so that I'd remember this place. I've already decided.
引っ越してくるのを待っていますですよ、前原。
ああ、いたいた。お客さん、こんな遠くまで行ったらダメですよ。
A raspy voice from the distance ended this innocent moment. It's the realtor. I guess he's been looking for me because I didn't return. Sorry about that. I got lost. I apologized while scratching my head. I turned around to look for the girls, but they weren't there anymore. All right, look at how, and then it was basically this page here, and then we're gonna get into the fragments. So we're almost done. This is crazy. All right.
これが学校なのかよ。すげえな。さすが田舎だな。
Keiichi, don't say stuff like that. The people in this area love coming here. That was my first impression of the Hinamizawa branch school. No matter how I look at it, it doesn't look like a school at all. It even has a sign that says Hinamizawa Forestry Service.
まあ確かに我が校は営林署さんの敷地をお借りしておりますからの。
Said the man they called the principal as he laughed heartily.
学び屋は違っても学校であることは同じです。前原くんがこれまで通われていた学校とはいろいろルールが違うと思いますが。
はい。
I heard all the grades are put in the same classroom at the school. I didn't believe it, but I think it really is true. They're all younger than I am, so I guess it'll be like kindergarten. Though it'll be interesting compared to my previous school where everyone looked the same age.
前原くんが転校してきたら男子の中では最年長になると思います。ですので自分の勉強だけでなく下級生たちの模範になるよう示さなければなりません。下級生は上級生の悪い癖をすぐに真似します。先生もそこは厳しく注意していますから、前原くんも下級生に悪い影響を与えないよう常に襟を正していてくださいね。
わかりました。努力します。
Keiichi, what she means is that textbooks aren't the only thing you learn from. As a member of the class and also as an older student, you have to be a good example. I know that already. After that, Ch.8 brought us to an empty classroom and showed me where my desk would be. Since we're all still growing, I'm sure our sizes are very different. There are some desks that are way too small for me to even put my legs under, and also some that are just perfect for me. There are approximately 30 desks in here, but since all the different grades are in the same room, I'm sure it's very lively. There's also a wall full of calligraphy and art from different grades. It's all pretty exciting, nothing like my previous school. It reminds me of the days when I truly enjoyed my school life.
父さん、俺気に入ったよ。やっぱり町の学校よりこっちの学校の方がいいや。
I think my son likes it here. I want him to go to this school too.
そうですか。沖宮の学校の方が設備もちゃんとしていますし、立派な先生方もたくさんおられますのに。
Even while saying that, Ch.8 looked happy to hear a new student would be transferring into her class. My father and the teachers went back to the teacher's office to get the transfer process going. In the meantime, I decided to stay in the classroom and look around. I didn't care about the move. I'd lost the will to live because of what I did. I didn't have any willpower and I couldn't even get out of bed. So when my parents told me about the move, I thought that wouldn't change anything. But after the move, something did change. I want to restart my life. I want to restart my life and become someone I've always wanted to be. Here in Hinamizawa and at the school, I can do that. I'm not going back to who I was. I'll never again think that good grades are the most important thing in the world. I have a feeling I can learn the things that are really important in life here at this school. I never had the chance to learn them before now. It's almost embarrassing to put into words, but they're extremely valuable things, and if you don't learn them, you won't become a decent adult. The students at the school learned them a long time ago. To them, they're a given. Yet, I have to spend time learning about them even at this age. How to make friends. How to play with friends. To play. Things you can only learn from play. Things like socializing with others. Etc., etc. It seems so easy, but it'll take me a while to learn them. I pushed those things aside and devoted myself to studying. I'm not trying to say studying isn't important, but you shouldn't become blinded by it. If someone says studying and good grades are the most important thing in life, he's talking bullshit. So I can restart my life here at this school. Finally, I can become someone I've always wanted to be. I noticed 2 girls looking at me through the window. The schoolyard must also be a playground for these children because I saw a lot of them playing there earlier. I guess those 2 noticed me walking around the classroom and became curious. I guess that's natural. I'm a stranger to them. Should I say hello and let them know I'm starting school next Monday?
ようやく引っ越してきたのです。僕は待ち疲れたのですよ。でも、これでまた変わってくるのです。だって、ケイイチはサイコロの6なのですから。
He goes back and be like, never mind, there's some creepy girls there. I don't want to be here anymore. They already know who I am.
6ではありますですが、ケイイチの振るサイコロは1がよく出上がりますです。ケイイチが悪いわけではありませんのです。全部、羽生が悪いのです。お前のせいなのです。ケイイチに謝れなのです。
俺の名前を知ってるのか？
She said my name, didn't she? Did I hear her wrong? I've never met her before.
ニパー、転校生なのですか？
よろしくな。前原圭一ってんだ。今度の月曜から来ることになると思うぜ。仲良くしてくれよな。
仲良くしましょうなのです。圭一に古出神社の巫女さんがありがたいお告げなのです。転校初日は教室の扉が鬼門なので入るときは注意なのです。あと椅子の背中に画鋲、机の中にはカエルのおもちゃまで入ってます。
He's like, yeah, I really don't want to go here anymore.
でも何度警告しても圭一は何度でも引っかかるのです。
In this timeline, he just decides to straight up not go to the school and then everything just goes to shit.
月曜日はかわいそうなのです。
Not a very warm welcome.
だから面白いのだけれど、たまにはそんな運命も打ち破ってみて。あなたがそれを教えてくれるのよ。あまたの世界の一つで。ね。
は？
Yeah, I was like, not a great first impression, you guys. I'll be reminded of that prophecy made by the 2 girls next Monday because of the actions of a snaggletooth girl. I'll realize it too late, though. But I like it here. My name is Keiichi Maibara. This is my new beginning, and this time I'm going to enjoy it to the fullest. I've been missing out on so much, but I'm going to learn all those things here. I'm going to absorb all of it, and I'll become someone I've always wanted to become. It may take a very long time, but I'll definitely do it. Okay, so we've got one more, it looks like, of the regular ones, and then, oh, I guess in June 1983. And then we get into the fragments. So this one, I think, we have all of An Invitation to an End, and then June 1983. Alright. Grandfather's articles were trampled on. We have proof as clear as the pathogen causing Hinamizawa syndrome, so why can't they believe in its life cycle? Because they've never heard of that before? Because they can't imagine it? Because there's no way something so absurd could be true? Don't tell me that. I can't bring myself to care about the limits of those commoners' understanding. Why can't anyone believe the truth of my grandfather's article, which has been proven by the Erie Institute? Why do people continue to believe that humans are a special existence? Humans are simply a species of animal. When various parasites that control their animal hosts exist, how can people declare parasites that use humans as their hosts don't? Wait, this isn't the problem. Not at all. Because everyone believed my grandfather's article up until now. Isn't that why the Ministry of Health and Defense Agency lent me their assistance? But out of nowhere, they turned cold. In other words, every bit of their help was because Uncle Koizumi had my back. So nobody actually read my grandfather's article? Did they just pretend to in order to make Uncle Koizumi happy? What is the meaning of everything I've done up until today? I thought I'd achieved something, but what have I really accomplished? I don't know what's going on, and all I can do is wallow in grief. The more I think about it, the more I no longer understand the meaning of my own life. Didn't Mio Takano devote her life to being useful for her grandfather? Then I haven't done anything for him at all. Count 3 with my grandfather, and I go on to count 4. What a crazy thing to say. No, no. If I let my mind wander, doubt about myself and my life will slip in. So I'm just going to fill the gap in my heart with alcohol. Is that strange to presume the existence of something that can influence human thoughts? It's true Hinamizawa syndrome isn't the actual case of ideology. The best it can do is drive people mad. Socialism or capitalism don't originate with it. In the era my grandfather was living, you couldn't talk about the world without ideology. The article came from that time and age, so some of its inferences may be exaggerated or biased, but that's no reason to deny its foresight. You can't simply say it's crazy and push it aside. Besides, the most important thing they ignore is the fact that Rika Furaday, the Queen Carrier, holds the fate of the village in her hands. My grandfather had predicted the importance and danger of the Queen Carrier since beginning his research on Hinamizawa syndrome. But the hypothesis of the infected community collapsing into madness if the Queen Carrier dies is a Pandora's box that can't be proven until she decides to prove it herself. It can only be confirmed after Rika Furaday's death, and if she dies, it'll be too late. But there's no mistake that Rika Furaday is the Queen Carrier, and a very special existence. It's clear from the various experiments we performed that she has a special influence on the infected villagers. Her death really could trigger the collapse of the entire village. That's no mistake. My grandfather predicted it. To say all of that sounds like a comic book is just too cruel. For them to call the various preparations we've made to protect her a fictional project that was used to tunnel funds. What I'm doing now is simply what my grandfather was going to do. Therefore, insulting my research is the same as insulting my grandfather. According to my grandfather's article, the first thing that needs to be done when researching the syndrome is to protect the Queen Carrier. Yet they ridiculed that more than anything else. The more I think about it, the more their words stick out in my memory. I can almost hear their voices, and I can't stop myself from covering my ears. I'm sure the members of the board of directors think I'm crazy. I was trying to petition for the Erie Institute to not be shut down, but it backfired. The members must think that Hinamizawa syndrome is some kind of joke, and I'm sure they'll push even harder now to put a stop to our research. If that happens, I would have to go back to researching as an individual. In other words, the same as what my grandfather did. There's a limit to what an individual can do. It's doubtful if I would even be able to go back to researching it individually. Once the Erie Institute is disbanded, everyone is obligated to keep it confidential until we die. I signed a contract to that extent. That's not just a simple promise. If I were to break it, a special unit like the Mountain Dogs would come after me to ensure I keep everything confidential. Even if that doesn't happen, the Erie Institute is to eradicate the syndrome within a few years and to bury every trace of it, including the results of our research. This isn't the normal process of research and treatment. They want to pretend nothing ever happened to begin with. I wanted to continue and complete my grandfather's work, but what's happening now will result in the complete opposite. I'm actually helping to eliminate my grandfather's hard-earned research from this world. A treatment has been created already. Although Erie is as passionate as I am about developing a cure, he's not very interested in any other aspect of our research. I hate to admit it, but he has more experience and talent than I do. I'm sure he'll come up with a plan for eradicating Hinamizawa syndrome within 3 years as requested by the new board of directors. And that board of directors will provide just enough funds to bury the syndrome. Erie will do that happily. Just like the time when he disposed of all the research data on test medicine H170 as was requested. All I can do is passively hinder them just like they did me, while watching the Hinamizawa syndrome get eradicated. And when everything is over, I will finally complete an article which is destined to be destroyed. Should I kill myself with thoughts of it in my head so I can at least present the article to my grandfather? He won't be happy even if I did that. On the contrary, he'd be disappointed in me for throwing the research he spent half his life on down the drain. He won't embrace me, I know that for sure. I wanted to reveal Hinamizawa syndrome to the world. I wanted the world to acknowledge my grandfather's masterpiece, and then that's when she went full on megalomania, where she's just like, I am going to do something where people cannot ignore it. I wanted to carve his name in history and promote him to a god. My grandfather waited, believing that day would come, and he must be patiently waiting still even after entering his eternal sleep. But I ruined it. I wanted him to become a god. I was going to become a god myself, too. Then we will be together forever, and I'll never have to be alone. If I become a god, God won't test me. There won't be any unhappiness. There won't be a sudden train accident. My grandfather won't go away, nor will Uncle Koizumi. I'll never have to go back to being alone. I am alone. I have no allies. I was just dancing in ecstasy on stage without anybody watching. I had only just realized there was no applause, but only ridicule. No, it's doubtful there was actually anyone in the audience to begin with. My parents died, my grandfather died, and then Uncle Koizumi died. 3 times has God toyed with me with their rolls of the dice. I thought I overcame each of those trials with my own strength, but I didn't. I was protected by a new guardian each time, and this time I have no guardians left to protect me. When I first arrived in Hinamizawa, I had every intention of challenging God and kicking him off his throne. But now forget challenging God. I'm just a loser being played with. I suddenly can't find it within myself to care about anything. Because if I cared, I'd be swallowed by sadness. Soaking my heart in alcohol is all I can do to forget about everything. A luxurious black car abruptly stopped next to me. I became sober immediately, as cars like that remind me of the time when I was captured after escaping from the orphanage. Suspicious-looking men in black suits and sunglasses got out from the car. I realized it instantly. They must have been sent by one of my clients. Being involved in the development of a biological weapon, being the main person responsible for it, and on top of that being mentally unstable. They obviously don't want me walking around freely. They're going to abduct me, seal me in concrete, and erase my existence. Or so I thought. I expected them to grab me and shove me into the car. But surprisingly, they bowed deeply to me instead.
入江機関副所長高野美代三等陸佐でありますね。
普段はね、今はただの飲んだくれの負け犬よ。
お会いしたい方がいらっしゃいます。どうか私たちにご同行いただけないでしょうか。
拒否してもどうせ無理やり連れて行くつもりなんでしょう。
I'll be killed anyway. I can't make my grandfather's wish come true, even if I live. Cynical thoughts like that ran through my head. Then the person in the back seat said,
無理にとは申しません。ですが、きっとザンサのお力になれると思っております。
I've never met this young woman before. She must be around my age. She knows about the Erie Institute, so she must be somehow connected to my clients. She's too young to be one herself. I bet a client who doesn't want to expose himself sent her. Even if I live, I can't make my grandfather a god. I can't be a god myself either. Who cares about where a loser like me gets killed anyway? I made up my mind and got into the back seat. As soon as I got in, the luxurious car smoothly took off. Silence filled the car for a time. They're the ones who invited me. I don't have anything to say myself.
ご無沙汰しております。と言っても、おそらくご存じないでしょうが、高野さんとは小泉先生の奔走の時、すれ違あら、そうでしたの。覚えていなくて申し訳ないです。
There were so many people at that funeral. I can't recall any of them. But why is that what she's opening with? Does that mean she belongs to the Koizumi faction?
小泉先生は戦後日本復興のオピニオンリーダーの一人として長く活躍されてきました。今日の平和日本を語る上で小泉先生の功績に触れずして説明することは難しいでしょう。戦後の焼け野原から復興するときは我が国の有志たちも一枚岩でしたが、残念ながら今もそうであるとは言えません。平和な時代が進み、焼け野原を知らぬ世代が国の中枢に入り始めるにつれ、当初の高貴な志を知る者は次第に減っていってしまいました。小泉先生は そんな高貴な同志の最後の長老として21世紀へ我が国を導いてくださる大黒柱だったのですね。
小泉先生の死後、小泉派は急速に没落。代わって他の派閥が勢力を伸ばし、いろいろと大変なことになっているでしたっけ？
I heard about these things from Jiro-san. It's really no different from the Sengoku era. When a lord or military leader died back then, the struggle to become his successor brought chaos to the nation. This country hasn't changed for hundreds of years.
その通りです。残念ながら平和日本は住みよい国づくりを実践してきましたが、同時に発足当時の高貴な志を忘れさせてもしまいました。現在東京は各派閥が小泉先生の空けた席と利権をめぐって争いが絶えない状態です。小泉先生をはじめすでに他界されている復興の功労者たちが知ったら、きっと
それと私に何の関係が？
あなたはそれの最大の被害者ではありませんか。今日までに風向きが突然変わるような体験を十分にされていると思いますね。
It's true that our research began because of Koizumi Sensei's support, and the pressures we face under the anti-Koizumi faction have been tempestuous and cold. Maybe for them, every project Koizumi Sensei left behind is an eyesore, regardless of what that project is. In other words, that simply means they rejected the research itself, doesn't it? Come to think of it, something like this happened to my grandfather, too. Back then, Koizumi brought authorities from various fields to see him. They talked down to my grandfather despite the praise they'd given earlier. Koizumi Sensei told me the masterminds were responsible for that.
hinamizawa症候群の研究はアルファベットプロジェクトで最大のもので、予算、体制その他プロジェクトの目玉だったと言っても過言ではありません。故にアルファベットの権益を独占したい連中によってあなたの研究はそのスケープゴートにされたのです。
スケープゴート？
決してhinamizawa症候群の研究が否定されたという意味ではない。彼らにとって重要なのはそのプロジェクトの派閥であり内容ではありません。本日高野さんに特にお伝えしたかったのはそこでした。
結局私は見せしめの羊ということなのね。私が何の研究をしていようとどうでもいい。この研究が小泉派のものであったということだけが彼らの関心。
そういうことです。派閥は風向きそのもの。順風な時もあれば逆風となる時もあります。その変わった風向きを取り戻すのは残念ながら容易なことではありません。
私のクライアントたちが敵対的になったのを元に戻すのは容易ではないということ。
そうです。アルファベットプロジェクトは完全に乗っ取られてしまいました。理事は全て変わり、彼らの私欲を肥やすためだけに決定をします。あなたの捨て身の説明など初めから彼らには耳を貸す気もないのです。
I grasped my knees, remembering that humiliating day.
ここで一度話を折ります。高野さんにとっての研究の目的は何ですか？
え？それは研究者としての知的な好奇心から。
あなたが祖父と呼び敬愛していた高野先生との約束ではないのですか？
Well, that's surprising. Koizumi Sensei once told me this fact could become a hindrance, so I've never told any of my clients about it. How did she find out? Oh, is she going to be like, it was Tomatake said something? If they know that, maybe they know a lot more about us than I think.
どこでそれを知ったんですか？
小泉先生からです。え？私たちはあなたの敵ではありません。どうかお楽になさってください。私たちはあなたの本当の力になりたくてやってきたのですから。
I don't know who she really is, but I know she's here because she wants something from me. So what is it that she wants? She knows about the relationship between my grandfather and me, so I can't be careless.
ただ 私たちがあなたの力になるにはあなたに本当のことを話していただかなくてはなりません。つまり腹を割っていただきたいということです。
おっしゃる意味が分かりません。
高野さんがひなみざわ症候群を研究する本当の目的は何ですか？
To have my grandfather's masterpiece acknowledged for what it is, and to have him become a god.
高野先生の研究を世間に認めさせること。あなたの祖父が心を込めて書き上げた論文を踏みつけてないがしろにしたことへの復讐ではありませんか？
I'm reaching the limit of not letting my surprise show on my face. How much does this woman know about me? In the first place, who is she? How does she know everything I'm thinking? I can't admit that out loud in any case. I have appearances to consider. But while this elegant woman was wearing an angelic smile, she laughed with a devil's seductive whisper, several times better at it than I am. I was about to say, she's basically on Takano's level, just like this woman seems very dangerous. A simple smile and a devilish grin are completely different. An ordinary smile means goodwill, but a malicious smirk means the complete opposite. This woman can read my deepest thoughts, and while doing so, she's testing me to see how honest I can be with her. Whether I tell her the truth or not isn't the issue here. She's testing me to see if I can trust her enough to confess everything.
もしも私の言っていることが全くの勘違いでしたらどうかお許しください。お好きな駅までお送りさせます。この近くですと5ぐらい駅がいいでしょうか？でももし私の言っていることがあなたの本当の気持ちに少しでも近いのでしたら私とあなたは力を貸し合える関係になれると思います。どうですか、高野美代さん。
Maybe this woman is the one who implanted the idea of, letting the Hinamizawa syndrome flow free. I can't say anything in reply, but I think that simply remaining silent might also be an answer. I want to hear what she wants from me. I've always phrased my objective as some vague idea of turning my grandfather into a god. But she's just taught me what my true objective is. I want to get revenge for my grandfather's suffering. I want those people to fight over the right to read the article they once trampled on and mocked. I want them to believe, no, to worship every single word my grandfather left behind. That is my true objective. This woman has stated out loud what I have only whispered within myself. She even asked me if she was correct. Is this woman an angel or a devil? If I'm a human, is she in existence above me?
あなたの不幸は自分の目的を具体的に理解していなかったことなのです。だからいつまでも惰性で研究を続けても至れない。ひなみざわ症候群の神秘を探るという抽象的な目的を掲げ、いつまでも達成できず自らの人生に疑問を抱かざるを得なかったのです。そうでしょそう、それは違う。あなたの真の目的、いや、夢はそんな抽象的なものじゃない。思い浮かべることができますか？それはこういう情景。この国の中枢を預かる真の頂点たちがあなたの祖父の論文を読み、その内容に驚きながら一片の疑いもなく信じてくれること。彼らは裏側に足跡が残るその論文をうやうやしく読み、その先見性あふれる研究に敬意を示し恐れおののく。どう想像できましたかしら？
This is my first time envisioning something like this. This is the woman that really feel like it planted that seed in her mind to go to that next level. And yet it's been my dream all along.
ひなみざわ症候群という言葉はあなたの祖父が作られたのでしょ。その言葉がこの国の津々浦々にまで響き渡り、あなたの祖父の生み出した言葉が永遠に刻まれて残る。
永遠に刻まれて残る。
そう、それはあなたの祖父の その偉業が永遠の存在に昇華されるということ。それがあなたが高野美代として生涯を捧げる夢じゃないのかしら。
This woman even sounds a little bit like Mio with the like little giggling and stuff. The malicious giggling. My grandfather's masterpiece will be remembered forever. Remembered forever.
なのにその偉業を全く理解できない豚たちはあなたのその夢を単なる派閥争いや権益の奪い合いの生贄とし無残に踏みにじろうとしている。あなたの祖父の論文をぎゅっと踏みつけたように。あなたは悔しい。とても悔しい。あなたが一生懸命作った資料を、そう、あなたのおじいちゃんが一生懸命作った論文と同じもの。それを踏みにじり嘲笑った彼らが許せない。おじいちゃんの偉業をバカにした豚どもが許せない。そうでしょう。そうじゃないですか。本当はそう。それを心優しいあなたは人を罵る言葉を知らなくて考え至らなかっただけ。
This is like the dark side, the shadow side of Mio. And I'm saying this as someone like Takano has already had the mountain dogs kill people for her and dissect people while they were still alive. And yet that's her holding back. An indescribable emotion is filling me, making me feel like I'm suffocating. The sensation of being cautious and calm, of trust and mistrust are all blending together. My heart is beating fast and my fingertips are shaking. Why am I at peace? Is it because she reminded me of my true dream that I couldn't express with my own words until now? Is it because she made me aware of the anger within myself? Why am I hesitant? Is it because she's reminded me of things I've never told anyone until now? No, those are things I've never even told myself.
ねえ、ミオさん。もし私の言ったことが間違っていないどころか大正解なのだったら、私はあなたの夢や復讐をきっと手伝ってあげることができると思います。どうなさったのかしら。大具合が悪いのかしら。あなら、もうこれ以上お話に付き合わせるのも悪いですわね。
A small noise leaked pathetically out of my mouth, like a child apologizing for a prank.
何かおっしゃったかしら。
I know she heard me. The woman smiled, trying to make me say it again.
違います。具合悪くないです。
ならよかったです。話を続けましょ
う。私の夢がそうなら、あなたに何ができるというんですか。
あなたの2つの復讐をお手伝いします。一つはあなたの祖父のための復讐。あなたの祖父の論文を嘲笑った者たちにもう一度うやうやしく手に取らせてやりましょう。彼らが土足で踏みつけたその論文をね。もう一つはあなたと祖父の約束であり心のつながりでもある症候群の研究を派閥争いだけを理由に踏みにじり、研究を彼らの権益のためだけに終わらそうとする理事会への復讐。あなたの目の前で資料を踏みにじり、あなたの人生さえも踏みにじろうとした豚どもへの復讐。
祖父の論文を手に取らせ、それを踏みにじった理事会に復讐する。
こちらも腹を割りますと、もちろんお手伝いをするのは私たちの利害が一致するからです。小泉先生が日本の未来のために立ち上げられたプロジェクトを先生亡き後に食い物にしようとする輩を放置することはできません。私たちにもっと力があればそのような輩の介入を許しはしないのですが、 風向きは変わり、もはやプロジェクトは小泉先生の理想には戻りません。豚どもが私欲を肥やすための豚小屋となり果てました。そのようなプロジェクトをこれ以上放置することは、アルファベットプロジェクトの名付け親でもあられる小泉先生も望まれません。プロジェクトは小泉先生の理想を離れた時点で畳まれるべきなのです。
派閥争いの生贄羊を今度は狼にしようというつもりですか？
あなたが今のまま生涯公開できぬ祖父の論文を胸に隠居されることを選ぶおつもりでしたら、無理にとは申しません。
No, I won't let that happen. I don't mind falling to the ground myself, but at least my grandpa's article.
あなたとおじいちゃんの結晶である論文を永遠のものにはしたくないですか？それはだってあなたの念願のはずじゃないのですか？
それが
あなたの本当の夢を叶えるチャンスを私たちがお手伝いします。
On the night I decided I was a loser in life and drowned myself in tears and alcohol after being abandoned by everything, I met someone who could be an angel or a devil. Is this divine salvation or the devil's seduction? I fought with the board of directors regarding the continuation of our research, but that was completely off target. That wasn't my true goal. My objective isn't to continue researching Hinamizawa syndrome. It's to have the world acknowledge my grandfather's research as a masterpiece. Somehow the method for achieving that swapped places with my objective and caused me to misunderstand myself. The purpose of my life isn't to continue my grandfather's research. It's to get revenge and repay them for my grandfather's suffering. That's what this woman is saying. She's promising to make my grandfather's research eternal. She's also promising an opportunity to take revenge against those who laughed at it. When Uncle Koizumi died, I thought God was playing dice with my fate. But my unshakable conviction gathered together a power stronger than God's die. So maybe this meeting happened for a reason. Curse you, God, you're testing me again. I will overcome the death of Uncle Koizumi, and I will make my grandfather an eternal existence by taking revenge against the God who tested me. I will, for certain. I will take my revenge. All right, that was a long one, but we are approaching the end here. We've only got a few more to go, and then I assume the ending, and I know there is a true ending as well, so apparently it's not very long, so I will probably put it at the end of... I assume the next episode is going to be the last one for this chapter, unless, like, these fragments are all insanely long. We'll have to wait and see, but, yeah, okay, so we got the confirmation about Satoshi that he did kill the ants, but we don't know what happened to him. We know he got brought into the clinic, but what happened to him after? Did he die? Did Takano dissect him and kill him, to do research on, the terminal patients? And the mountain dogs got rid of his body. Still don't quite know that, but I assume we're going to find out in the next episode as everything kind of comes to an end. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned for the next one. Bye, guys. Special shout out to my top tier patrons: Namara Kito, Sparky, iCognito, Simon Rax, Mad Goldsmith, Harry Gazif, and Asborn Kennedy.